We are Castle. You are Castle.
That thing rips.
Well, here we are again, once again, in my laboratory of destruction. And I'm just going to say that I've got several major hobbies. I think you guys all know this. 50,000 watt car audio and bigger, really big bore guns, and radio. And RC cars. I'm addicted. I am an RC car addict. This is my very first YouTube video that has anything to do with RC cars, and probably will be one of my last. But the thing that we're here to talk about today is so impressive to me that I couldn't help myself but bring it out here and throw it out on my YouTube channel. The opportunity came forward, and I didn't think much about it, to be able to work with these guys a little bit, and I didn't think anything about it until this showed up here. It's big. Oh, it's gold. I dig it. Save this for the return trip. Sensor wire. And of course, when I first got here, I didn't have a lot of faith in it. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. I have spent a mountain of money on big ESCs. I have. The ZW 300 amp Beast Pro, all that thing does is explode. I've got one of the units from MGM or whatever it is. It's not waterproof and vibration prone from what I've seen. That's just my personal experience with those other units. So I was a little guarded, thinking, okay, we'll see. And when I'm talking about the Beast Pro, what I'm talking about is their 12S version, which lasted exactly 2 seconds. So hence the reason no YouTube video about it, nothing really to talk about. So I went ahead and I threw it up here on the test bench, and my biggest thing that I wanted to see was if it was going to produce any interference on any level across the whole spectra from 0 to like 1.3 gigahertz My fear was that it would interfere with satellite communication when it comes to us trying to do speed runs with it and do GPS tracking and so forth. Well, this is what I found. Only 1 amp being drawn over here, but we don't want to take that to full load because the motor's just sitting there free spooling. So, okay, unit works for sure. We're not seeing any noise that might interfere with GPS satellites or anything that's tripping me out over here on the Spectrum. Spool the motor up to about 10 volts out. Nothing over here tripping me out either. We're 10.5 volts right now. It's clean, looks good. Nothing on the Spectrum. Back to full stop. And our 1 signal spike in our relatively quiet room here, electrically quiet room, is, well, our Spectrum. What I mean by Spectrum is our Spectrum radio. Okay. I'm happy and I feel comfortable to put this in the car. Now, before I really tear into this, I want to switch to a different point of view, and I want to give you guys something true to look at. Every YouTube video I watch about RC car products, it's the dude that stands there and he screams and he yells at you, "Oh, this is so kick-ass, this is so awesome. Hey guys, what do you think? Oh my God." When I go to watch a YouTube video about something, I want to see the thing running. I want to see the thing working. I want to see how big it is. I want somebody to talk to me about it like an adult and not sit there and scream and have clickbait thumbnails. And let's give you some real data. So what we're going to do is we're going to click up to the overhead camera. And for size and reference, we're going to throw this into the picture. This is made by our friends over at Horizon. This is a fairly decent ESC. This is the Spectrum, I think it's 150 or 200 amp. It's a cute little thing. Works pretty good. Comes stock in a lot of stuff. The 2 vehicles that we're going to test it in that are fifth scales, this is the ESC that you would get with the unit as you roll out. Now guys, please keep in mind that each one of these squares is a 1/4 inch in size. So this is the Hobby Wing 150 2 through 6S LiPo ESC. It's an older one. The newer one's a little bit smaller. It comes in the same body. It's made with a simulated aluminum, glass fiber reinforced casing. Very, very basic. Very basic. Now the monster that dominates all of those guys is this little dude. This is the Bama Monster XX, or X8. It's a cute little unit. I tried one of these in my Limitless. It didn't work out too well. I put too way big of a KB motor in it, and it came apart. Now, you can run this in your Limitless. You just got to make sure you know what you're doing with your gearing and with your motor size. It's very important to keep in mind. This particular unit has got a bunch of cool little technology in it called CryoCool. I'm going to come back to that. So now Castle's big dog up to this date has been this bad mamma jamma. And this is what everybody's been setting their land speed run records with. And this is a bad unit. Bad ass unit. They put this up there for size and reference. And what this is here, this is my capacitor bank to help us get rid of ripple. Okay? So we don't have like a volt worth of ripple. We've added, I built my own capacitor bank, by the way. It's just me. It's the things I do. It's the things I do. But what we're here to talk about today is this thing. This is the XLX-2. Big, isn't it? impressive. Very much it is. Now, it doesn't come stock with 8mm plugs. It comes with 8-gauge wire that comes out of it. I added 8mm plugs to it because this unit, I put in almost everything I could find to put my hands on. I run this in an 8 scale. I run this in a 10 scale. I've run this in a lot of 5th scale units because I wanted to see what it'd do and I'd want to see how it'd perform. Now, in the beginning video there, you saw my Crichton 8S. It had this unit in it. This is a unit that came out of it. Now, I got those Proline tires that are on the front of that thing. And them things are as hard as a coffin nail, and I can't damage those tires. I can't. So I want you to think about how hard it is. Now, the center diff on that truck has been locked with like 50 million weight silicone, right? Think how much energy is going into that drivetrain. Think of how much energy is going into that drivetrain. To one, for me to be able to pop a wheelie and make it stand like that. But two, to make the front tires load the way it was. The other thing is this thing loves amperage. It loves to eat it, loves to consume it, loves to drink it. And what I was running in that truck are these little guys made by SMC. These are graphene batteries. So not little tiny spectrums. Now let me put this in perspective for you. If you go buy that Crichton, they're going to try and sell you a battery like that. Isn't that cute? That's the top of the line. Top of the line. On the other hand, we got big boy batteries. For density and what these do, it's hard to beat them. It's just my opinion, but batteries in this game, everybody's got an opinion. But what we're here to talk about today is this. Let's scoot on in on this guy. Let's roll on down here a little bit. And let's do a front and side review of this thing. Let's turn it sideways. How about that? 8mm on the input. I added those 8mm on the output for the motor. Now, a lot of my testing was done with the Castle 2028 motor. Unbelievable, unbelievable motor. But I want to show you something. That's the Spectrum unit. This is the XLX-2 CryoCool. That gives you an idea for height and size. Just turn it on its end. Once again, each block is a 1/2 inch. It's made from all billeted aluminum, fully potted in plastic, and it is 100% waterproof. I know this because I tried it in water. This is our side view, XLX-2. And the bottom is just a shiny piece of aluminum. Little tiny fins on the bottom of it. This is a breathtaking, jaw-dropping step forward in technology and reliability. And I'm here to tell you what I mean. The very first vehicle I took it and put it in was my Limitless, my speedrunning car. Proceeded to blow the tires off at 120 and slam the thing into a road sign. This ESC has been through a complete disintegration of a vehicle. It came out with one little tiny, let's see if I can find it, one little tiny scratch. But the whole car disintegrated around it. Pulled the ESC out of the vehicle and went back to playing. Let me show the video of that wreck. Pretty gnarly wreck. Destroyed the car. It's okay, we rebuilt it. I'll show you that here in a little bit too. Now up until this point, you guys, I have honestly felt like this is the kind of cooling I've had to apply to the ESC. You know, 500, 600 CFM just to be able to keep the thing running cool. It's the same thing with this. There's a ton of aftermarket fans for this device. It works great. Works even better with fans. You get a lot better runtime, protects the MOSFETs. There's a whole lot better stuff. But this is how I felt I've had to run. Big gnarly ass blowers, trying to hide them up underneath the body of the car, trying to get enough air across the unit. That puts a stop to it. With all my testing and all of the running that I've done with this thing, which has been a ton, I've managed to, I think, get the fan to run post runtime maybe 8 minutes total. It's everything we can to get the fan to kick on. This thing is groundbreaking in the technology that's in it. There's a ton of stuff going on underneath the hood, like heat pipes and all kinds of other stuff that they've got built into the heatsink that I can just passively see. No one's ever confirmed that. I've never asked no questions. But you can passively see it in the heatsink design on the outside. This thing is badass. Let me show you another little test that I did. This is called the antique tractor pull test. Now out here in the Northwest, we got these things called antique tractor pulls. And this is where all the farmers, they get together and they bring their old steam powered tractors and their old coal fire power, whatever. Old antique, gotta be like 1950 and younger, or older, I mean. So these guys get out there and they stoke their fire all afternoon, and it's just like a regular tractor pull where you got the sled and the weight getting pulled on the sled, and then they'll get all the way to full pull where the weight's all on it, and they'll gear them old steam power tractors down, and they'll just sit there and chug until there's a hole in the ground. So I call this my tractor pull test. Please note, this ESC combined with the 2820 motor, or 2028 motor, broke every drivetrain I put it in except for one. Antique tractor pull trick. Go.
castle.
I told you, I rebuilt the car. And the reason it's dirty is because we ran it the other day, like yesterday. Out here in the Northwest, we've been dealing with a lot of smoke and stuff from the fires in California, Oregon, and Washington. So the ground and everything out here is covered in dust or soot, ash, and all that, a little bit of dust and soot on the car. Normally I can't stand to keep my car like this, but there's no point in completely meticulously cleaning it when I go out and I make 147 mile an hour pass or whatever, and the car looks like this again. But this came right out of here for me to do the video here today. But let me digress. I'm going to back up just a few steps. Let's go back and talk about the Losi DBXLE2. Okay? With the stock motor, all I did was remove the Spectrum 150 ESE and I put this in its place. Mounted it in. I got pictures I'll show you in video here. I no sooner put the ESE in the car, went out and ran it. And, well, you'll see what happens here, but just keep in mind that the foam inserts on that car are very well taped. As in, like 6 layers of Gorilla Black gaffer's tape, and then 5 layers of this. This is Scotch glass fiber tape. So the inside of a fifth wheel tire, you've got your bead lock, your rim, then your bead lock. You got a foam insert that allows the tire to stay in shape. And then outside of that, you've got the skin, the hull of the tire, the actual rubber tire, and it's held in place by the bead locks. With the stock motor and just changing the ESE, look at what the skin hunk of the tire does. Now, I'm telling you, this worked out to be about 70-ish feet is how far it threw this thing. I knew I was in for a wild ride. Now, the reason I jumped over to the fifth scale stuff instead of staying intent on this is because this vehicle was destroyed. There was nothing left of it. The frame was bent in a U. I could take the frame and just hit it. It'd sit there and rock back and forth like grandma's rocking chair. It wasn't worth salvaging it. Most of the drivetrain had been destroyed. The front and rear diffs had problems in them. It was easier just to start over and build a new car, which I did. So in the interim, as I was waiting for this thing to show up so I could rebuild this car, I went and put it in everything I could. And I started with the Losi, then I went to the Crichton, then I went to my Losi Truggy, and we'll show you a video of all of that. But first, let me show you the first time I put this in a fifth scale truck. Look at what it did to the tires. Well, that's all fun and good. Ripped the tires off. So we went ahead and we put belted tires on the front end of that thing. And then we went on and we did the antique tractor pull test. Then we went on and we played with the Crichton a little bit. Enough though. We have to have an opportunity where we do a little bit of measurable science. And what I mean by that is anybody can grab one of these things and just throw them in their car and go run them. Ooh, nice pass. Ooh, so fast. It's true. Now, believe me when I tell you, this thing is so groundbreaking that I know for a fact that this is going to become the key point in a lot of people breaking a lot of world records as far as speed goes and all different sizes of vehicles. I know this for a fact. There's some unbelievably talented people. Now, like I sit around and I think about radio equipment all day long. How can I make it work better? There are people that sit around and think about how can I make my whatever it is go faster. There's some unbelievably fast people in this game in the 160s. And that's on open-wheeled tire, not in some custom fiberglass shelled, carbon fiber rimmed, one-off, one-purpose, spent $40,000 in 2 months to make things go fast. That's at 207. We're talking straight up, out of the box, change a couple components and make it go stupid fast. But there's a lot of little things to that. This thing is going to be a game changer. It is rugged, it is reliable, it is tolerant, it is impact resistant, it's waterproof. Its amp rating, I don't know, to be the best way to know how to put it, a lot. The highest I've seen people pull is in the 5 and 600s worth of amps through this unit. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're playing with it hard and we're making it run hard. The internal amp gauge on the in the inside of this thing, I think, is set up for well over 1,000 amps. I think. Don't quote me on that. But what is the actual unit rated for? I don't know. I'll say this. We've yet to find the bottom of it. And I guess it must be up to you guys to try. Well, let's get some real science going on here. Let's get some real actual measurements going on. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab the handy old FLIR here, and let's take a look at some stuff. So the first thing that we're going to look at is we're going to take a look at the low C80E. Okay, so the low C DBXLE, was it 2E or whatever it is? First, let's take a look at the ECS of the fan. Now what you're looking at here is on your left-hand side, you got your scale for temperature, and then on the right-hand side, you got your absolute hottest scale in picture. Look at the fan shroud temperature. Let's go ahead, we're going to cut to the ESC frame now. So the metal body of the frame on the ESC, so the heatsink sets independently from the frame of the ESC, but the heatsink itself isn't registering any hotter than the actual ESC body, the frame. So we're going to use that as a form of measurement. Let's go ahead and take a look at the power wires. And now let's click over and take a look at the motor. Let's hop back over to the camera again. So to put that in a frame of reference, that is the DBXLE-2 running with, let's see what batteries did I run in it that day. Oh yeah, the SMC 7900s, or probably 9700s. That's an approximate 15-minute run around the neighborhood of trashing and bashing and bashing and trashing on it. And that's with the hardened front and tires. And that was with the Castle 2028 system in that car, in that truck. Let's jump over, let's go look at the Crichton, which the unit spent a lot more time in the Crichton than it did anything else really, so far. Let's go look at the ESC. We're at the fan shroud again. ESC frame. ESC power wires. And back over to the motor. Initially, they had me run it with the stock motor configuration, then they had me put the 2028 in it, and I had a lot of fun with that. Either way, it was, I call it the driveline destroyer. I started having front end issues. I can't imagine why I wasn't being abusive to it in any way, shape, or form. I was beating on that son of a... I mean, I wasn't being kind to it, and you can't go full throttle, full brake, full throttle, full brake, full throttle, full brake, full throttle, full brake,
That thing rips.
and not expect you're not going to tear something up in the drivetrain. It has nothing to do with this unit. Nothing to do with this unit, none whatsoever. All right, let's go look at the Limitless real quick. This is with a 134 something mile an hour run. Doesn't really matter, it's really slow. 130 something mile an hour run. Power wires. And now the motor. Back to the big camera. This is the most, I have more confidence in this ESC than I do any other piece of equipment that I got up in here for me to run in my cars. Listen to me when I say this. I have more confidence in this thing being able to run almost everything I own than I do any other ESC I have up in this shop to run my cars. I have beat the snot out of this unit, and I've shown it to you actual running time. I've shown it to you via FLIR. The only thing I haven't shown you so far is data charts, which I can do that because the logging in here is phenomenal. But what I want you to do is come join Castle and go get your own logging charts. I want you guys to come join us. I have so much faith in this unit, it's unbelievable. I have done everything I can think of. I mean, they're talking they're able to get 15 to 18 horsepower out of the motor with this unit attached to it, and this thing's not even getting hot. And I've seen it. I've twisted drive lines up like they were pretzels. I've stripped gears out of the vehicles. I've had center differentials, scrub screws back out, all the normal stuff, but just in an eighth of the time because of the amount of pressure that this thing is putting upon the drivetrain. It's something to seriously consider. All right. See how fast we can get this to go. We're on a 22 volt battery, a helicopter battery, to try and make this thing as light as possible. Let's get this up in frame. Now once again, we're running power line, belted tires, and I think this thing's gonna haul ass. I'm surprised it didn't just rip something out in the drivetrain. Wasn't that cute? I had fun. I ran it around in that 8 scale all afternoon. It was great. It was actually a lot of fun. And this whole process has been a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. Now, I had this grand vision. This vision where I was going to go out and I was going to make a decent run with my car. And I wanted to do a couple different things and I was going to show it off. But something else happened. I'm not too sure what yet. We're still working through the process of trying to diagnose that. But I spent more time today looking for my GoPro than anybody should ever have to do. I was hoping beyond hope that I'd be able to get some data off of this. Now let me explain. We're going to wrap this video up in not a way that I thought I would want to wrap up any video, but all of you that have ever watched any of my YouTube videos before know that I don't hide anything. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not afraid to say, oh, had a problem. Today we had a problem. Today was an epically bad day. But it ends on a good note. I'll give you an idea. This battery used to be square. Now it is not. There's a big dent in the side of the case. That's not supposed to be there. And the GoPro itself, if we take a quick look at it, is no longer straight. That rubber should be up with this edge and shouldn't have marks on it like this. And this is a brand new front lens on it. Yep. Let me give you an idea here else how bad this was today. This is all that's left of my Garmin Fortrex 401. Outer lens, battery holder, display, LCD. Ooh, let me show you the batteries. This is one AA battery. At least it can roll. Here's its partner in crime. It cannot roll. Just kind of scrape all these little glass segments out of the way. Here, we'll give you another example of the severity of how lovely this day was. These are supposed to be square. These are brand new. Not even, I think, a week old. These scare me. I'm going to have to dispose of these properly. It was hustling though. Whatever happened, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I might be able to salvage some data out of the GoPro card, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Just put these out of the way for right now. It went flying today. This is what's left of one of my side skirts. The servo mount, all of that stuff, frames screwed, whole front end's broke, screwed, rear end's all screwed up, center support bracket's all bent. The battery's made such a hard impact here on this rub guard. I built this rub guard for an intention. I've had wires get sucked into the gears before, and that's not a good thing ever. What I'm talking about is this here. That thing was square, now it's flat. It is what it is. I found the Y plug battery adapter about 80 feet from the car. These are the extensions that go off the motor. Found these about 75 feet from the car, and they are broken. Little out on the front porch of what's going on with the motor. I haven't had a chance to look at that yet, but the reason that I'm shooting all of this and taking this straight on the chin is because of this. I watched this fly about 25 feet in the air after it's radically departing the car with an obscene amount of speed. This landed on an asphalt road, probably 35 feet from the vehicle. I want you all to look at this real close. That is the power of the XLX-2. I would argue that this is probably one of the most impact-tested XLX-2s in the world at this moment. Taking into account, I don't think there's very many at this time. Doesn't matter, this car has been through 2 major wrecks, both well over 100 plus miles an hour. And this ESC is fine. Doesn't have a scratch on it, other than the one that came from the previous wreck, which is right here. Right there on that corner. I'm emphasizing this because I have never seen an ESC put up with this kind of abuse and not have some kind of catastrophic failure. And to me, that is impressive. Impressive. Before I run away on you guys, I want to show you this one last little bit. That's the case to the Sky RC GNS. I'm about 60 feet away in a parking lot. I found the base to it. About 45 feet from the Sky RC, I found the Batteria. And that's the guts. So if you ever want to see the inside of a Sky RC unit, that's what it looks like. So, to have the opportunity to play with this thing and test it has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed myself. This has been a very, very learning experience for me. It really has been. I wrecked a couple cars. Who cares? At the end of the day, the point is that this is the best tested thing in the market. By far. You can't kill it. God knows, through sheer accidents, I have tried. And I say this with a smile on my face. You can't get upset. It's just stuff. They make more stuff every day. It's just stuff. But this kind of stuff It's got special stuff in it. I, for the life of me, cannot believe that this thing still works. Well, guys, I'm going to run away. I wanted to give an honest opinion on something RC related for a change. I did, and now I've done it. This is going to be completely new to the market. And believe me when I tell you, it's worth every penny. This is the answer to a lot of problems and a lot of questions that are plaguing the RC community here today. Honest. Believe me when I say it's the most impact-tested thing on the face of the earth. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. I appreciate you all tuning in. And in a parting note, I want to say, please don't call me. I'm not an expert on this thing, this unit at all. This is a side hobby for me. So please don't give me a shout. Get a hold of Castle or your local dealer. It would be your best bet. I got to go. We'll see you. I thank every single one of you for being here.